Can I speak to a manager? Oh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh,
Die hat mich
come
verfolgt.
on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Kurz mal Moonwalk ausgepackt, alles klar.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
What the fuck war jetzt diese Stimme? Yeah, my story now.
This is a very sad story about the death
Nice
of a man
titties.
named Stanley.
Also wenn ich alles andere drücke? Nix, okay.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ach ja? Ja, das gibt's auch. You!
Look at him there,
Ich hab
pushing
U verfehlt.
buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Ja, aber der Unterschied ist, du kannst mir sagen, was ich zu tun habe, aber nicht wann ich zu tun habe, ja. Ich könnte jetzt genauso gut schlafen gehen, rausgehen, mich zuballern mit allem, was ich finde und dann T drücken. Weiß natürlich nicht, aber ich könnte.
In his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Cool.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
By the way, ist die Tür nicht irgendwie komplett gigantisch? Also groß und breit? Das ist die Riesentür. No? Oder bilde ich mir das gerade nur ein? Okay.
So
Backport.
he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley
Hast du
Parable.
geschissen, ha? Du stinkst den ganzen Raum zu.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and
Der ganze
so in
Boden
his
ist ja
head,
nass.
he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Also, hoffentlich bleibt dein Gestank da drüben, ja.
But there is no answer.
Das Fenster
How
offen?
could there possibly be?
Mach's er
In
auf!
reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has.
Oh.
Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ja, hier erstmal hier kacken und dann verpissen, gell? Hahaha, Wortwitz H.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Also, ja, manchmal lerne ich auch dazu, ja, und kann hier rumhusten, ohne Sound zu machen. Ja, I guess.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Oh.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Okay.
All of his
Ja,
co-workers
ja,
were
ja,
gone.
ja, ja,
What could
ja,
it mean?
ja.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So, ich bin nur überlegen, wo kann man hier noch PCs drücken, die dann hier tralala und so. Wenn ich jetzt den anderen Weg direkt genommen habe, dann müsst ihr da nochmal das Spiel entscheiden, gell? Dann würde da dieses Spiel kommen mit diesem Baby, was explodiert. Dann würde er fragen, wie gut das Spiel war. Und ich glaube, es würde keinen Unterschied machen, was ich danach kriege. Und dann, ja.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Gute Frage. Was? Source Levitation. Ah. Difficult Findings. Aha. Red Room. Bottom text. Wait a minute. Übersetzer. Nicht von Chinesisch auf Deutsch. Komplett. Completionist. Completionist, was? Vertraulicher Vervollständiger Instinkt. Aha. We need more blanks. Okay. Oh, das ist helpful. Screenshot. Toilette? There's something to do with stairs. I want to go cleaning up this wall. Good.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it.
Ich versuchte doch einmal
It's
so.
a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to
What?
resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Okay.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There.
Oh.
Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Gibt's noch was?
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to
Oh.
slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
I guess ich muss den nicht mehr beleidigen, weil ich hab's den jetzt. Der Typ hat den voll gezeigt.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Also wenn das ein kindischer Raum ist, dann hast du eine echt schlechte Kindheit gehabt, not gonna lie. Ich glaube, da sagt jetzt nichts mehr. Ich habe jetzt einen komplett neuen Bucket. Yay. Wie neu geboren. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ah.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Ich dachte, du hast mir jetzt gefragt, wieso. Wieso hast du mir jetzt. Ah.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did
Nein.
I end up with someone else's bucket?
Das ist
This is all
meine.
terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket? And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Was?
It was incredibly painful.
Du bist sehr pervers.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was.
Ein Bucket.
This man had no bucket.
Ja, Mann.
Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
Do that.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Nice.